making celebrations in Damascus as Syrians thank Trump for saving them. Saving me! Savior of the nation! Let's go. Okay. Saving them Syrians?
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 2C TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C and we have some breaking news coming from the heart of the Middle East, in Syria, specifically Damascus, and now, over the last few minutes, other cities and towns across the country as celebrations have now started following a big announcement and policy change coming from President Trump that has now essentially saved the Syrians, their country and their economy. We're going to explain exactly what's going on here. There's so much to unpack because, of course, over the last few days, the whole of the image of the Middle East is now completely changing with the help of course, the leadership coming from President Trump, but also the support from the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia, Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, and other countries who are now going to be forced to do the same thing. The mission is simple: to suffocate the Islamic Republic of Iran. Let's go and talk about what's been going on. So,
poor Iran. Iran's like, help! Everyone's going against me, dude. Okay, so this is literally it's the literal definition of you're the asshole, and everybody wants you to stop being an asshole. And so the second the world power, the United States, is like, hey guys, I think you're doing good. Let's work together. Every single one of those Middle Eastern countries are like, we have a chance here. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck it up. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what they're doing right now. They're like, oh my gosh, finally, we've broken through to the world powers. Okay, let's do the best we can now. And then everyone's like, everyone just goes, what about Iran? Iran's like that retarded stepchild, and you're just like, no, don't do it. You just be good, please. Be good. Work with them. Be nice. No, don't hit them. No.
Celebrations have now started in Syria following the announcement by the US president during his visit to Saudi Arabia that all the sanctions that have been imposed by America against Syria is now being lifted. Now, there are
What am I looking at right now?
There will be there's a lot of T&Cs involved in this. They will be monitoring the progress in Syria and al-Julani's performance as a leader or self-appointed president. Let's watch the first video, then I'm going to explain what the plan was from the beginning and where President Trump is going with it.
Dude, when they say we Americans are gone crazy, they definitely seem happy. Rioting? I don't know what you're doing.
Of course, this is following the recent developments over the last few days, where the Druze, Christians, and other minorities who are now so far being protected by the government against some of the extremist elements of HTS, the terrorist organization. Now, this is also about getting a guarantee from the Syrian government in regards to Israel's territory, getting a guarantee from the Syrian government, as I said, on the safety of the minorities, including the Druze and Christians and others. And of course, Saudi Arabia will be there to monitor the situation. This is a new partnership as part of the pre-Abraham Accords, which is now hoping to reach a new level, which is the Cyrus Accords. Cyrus Accords, which will be a free and democratic Iran following the fall of the IRGC. Women, girls from all religions and all backgrounds are now coming out on the streets tonight in Syria. As I said, the Druze and Israelis have now been promised.
Bro, where have I seen this face before? Wait a minute. Was it Miley? Cyrus. was that song? US. I don't know if the last time I saw that shit. Am I crazy? Am I fucking crazy? Is that not the same freaking face? We got Damascus Miley Cyrus over here. Dude, it's gotta be. It's like the same freaking face. Back when she was actually beautiful. Everyone's got a doppelganger somewhere, I guess. Oh my gosh.
To be protected, Al-Jilani has also said he will be
Damascus
controlling. Well,
or Syrian, there you go. Syrian Miley Cyrus, let's go.
The Islamists in Syria are under control, because this is one of the demands coming from other Arab countries, including Saudi Arabia and UAE. These are the countries that have been leading the fight against extremism, even if that meant pushing out the extremists from their country in order to keep the rest of society safe. Now they want the same demand from Al-Jilani and Syria. And over the last few days, it's been okay, it's been peaceful, following the chaos that we had again a couple of weeks back, where the Druze and Christians were getting targeted because an element of HTS, the Tahrir al-Sham, who were the support.
Jews, not Druze. I keep hearing Drew. Like, what the fuck is a Drew? I know what a Jew is, though.
Supporters, by the way, of Al-Jilani. Let's not forget Al-Jilani's background. He was essentially an Al-Qaeda and an ISIS-style terrorist himself, and he called himself a freedom fighter. But his followers were still causing chaos over the last few months.
I hate it when they call themselves freedom fighters. It's so stupid. Because freedom fighters, you're fighting for freedom. Sure, okay. But why is it that when you control the country or you control a city, you're not fighting for freedom anymore? You're fighting to kill. You know? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm a freedom fighter, so let me go over to Israel and free Israel from the Jews. What? That doesn't even make any sense. What the hell are you talking about? What?
And they say that they now have them under control. Now you can't fully trust Al-Jilani. You can't. It's the same we could say about the state of Qatar. They've spent the last few years exporting propaganda and terrorism and Islamism. But it's about suffocating the Islamic Republic. It's about forcing these guys, forcing their hands to behave. Even if you can't trust them, you have to monitor them. This is exactly what I've been saying that should be done over the last year and a half, as I said previously earlier tonight. Let's go to the next videos. They are, again, a lot of the Syrians, ordinary Syrians, are now thankful for getting closer to Saudi Arabia. And obviously the move is to move all these territories away from the Islamic Republic of Iran and the IRGC influence. Getting closer to Saudi Arabia is extremely important. Getting closer to UAE is extremely important. And again, we will talk about Qatar, because their role is also very important. Again, you cannot trust the Qataris, but you have to deal business with them.
I have no idea what to think. This is me.
As you can see, they are thankful to Saudi Arabia. It was the efforts of the Crown Prince to get the US president to agree to the monitoring of the performance of the Syrian government. This is not an unconditional support from the Americans. This is not really. It's the same situation with the new relationship between the United States and Qatar. It's not unconditional.
Yep. So because of the new relationship over in the Arabian Peninsula, basically what they're trying to do right now is, I think it was the Crown Prince who personally called Trump and was like, hey man, can you remove the sanctions off of Syria, because right now they don't stand a chance. The sanctions are just too much, and the guy up there, the leader, just wants a chance. He wants a chance to prove that they can do good. So can you remove them and just give them a chance? So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I really hope that Syria can truly start becoming really quite an amazing country, because they've been under rule by a lot of really bad dictators over the years, and they've been bombed to hell. So yeah, I'm hoping that they'll do well.
Conditional. I'm still very much against getting a free gift from Qatar. It's never a good idea, but it is important to drag them away from the IRGC.
Yeah.
And obviously keep an eye on them. President Trump managed to...
Do not be funding the terrorists. If you fund the terrorists, we will kill you. And that's basically what the United States has been doing for like years now. It's like, look, we don't trust you because you fund terrorists. And it's like, well, we fund terrorists because nobody's giving us a chance to do anything else with the world. So, and that's ultimately thanks to Budden, thanks to freaking Budden and his idioticness, the UAE, thanks to BRICS, they decided to leave and not sell oil using U.S. dollars, which, you know, is quite important for the power of the United States of America. Instead, they were going and using yuans and rubles for Russia and China, and that's not a good idea. So ultimately, like, this is Trump coming back in and being like, hey, no, we want you to be friends. We want to be friends. Let's let's continue doing what we're doing, right? And so Saudi Arabia, yeah, no, it's a good thing. I think this is healing a lot of the issues of the Joe Biden's entire presidency, and I do believe that this is a good thing.
The Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia, to trust him to say, don't worry, even though Saudi and Qatar don't get along. He managed to convince Saudi Arabia, we're going to drag Qatar away from Iran. And of course, the Crown Prince in Saudi managed to say, well, in that case, we will keep an eye on Syria, on al-Jilani. It will help in order to create stability, to remove the sanctions, to help the economy in Syria. Maybe even some of the Syrians who are currently in America and in Europe might move back. You don't want a situation where more people from Syria and other countries leave the Middle East to go to the West. You don't want more mass migration. It doesn't help anybody. It's best to get people to go back to their countries, to rebuild the economy, and to actually make their countries great again. It's best not to create more conflicts. The only mission is to suffocate the Islamic Republic. That is the last, the head of the octopus.
Okay, interesting.
We have more videos, of course, as we said. Al-Jilani's government, they also have released a statement now, which we're going to read out, but they have agreed to that as I said, the performance of their new regime, their new republic, to be monitored. We'll see how long it will last.
Some happy people. Let through. Is that peace?
Not bad. Now, it's fascinating how easily the Islamists were tricked over the last few days, over the last couple of weeks, by President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Everything goes back to what's been said over the last few days by the president. Do you remember, over the last few days, there were a lot of rumors about the Americans changing the name of the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Gulf. Now, it was fascinating because a lot of Iranians, normal Iranians inside and outside Iran, had a meltdown saying, whoa, because they have a lot of pride, you know. It's like, well, you can't even, like, it's like insulting the Greek salad, right? They were like, whoa, what is going on? President Trump, let's go kill him because, you know, how dare you, it's the Persian Gulf. And I was like, just wait. I told people to just be patient. I knew exactly what the plan was. It was very simple, and it worked. Number one, trigger the Islamic Republic of Iran, because they had to get offended, and they did get offended. They did a whoopsie during the negotiations because they were angry, the negotiations between the US and Iran, and they showed their hand and their actual red lines. So the negotiations is becoming quite obvious that it's not going to go well unless it's now Iran's turn to compromise. About a few weeks ago, a lot of us were worried that the Americans are going to compromise, and I'm like, that's just not going to go well.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I was quite skeptical. Not only that, triggering the Islamic Republic, showing their cards, and then all these rumors across social media, without any confirmation from the Americans or the Israelis, the rumors that apparently President Trump has abandoned Israel, right? Netanyahu and Trump are not getting along. What was happening in the middle of all that?
That's funny.
The Americans were negotiating to get a hostage out of Gaza. Hamas thought this is it. The Israelis have been abandoned. President Trump is going to force Netanyahu to withdraw from Gaza, agreed to a permanent ceasefire. They released the hostages, like, okay, so we're ready now. And then President Trump and Netanyahu came out together saying, okay, now we're coming in. Both the Houthis and Hamas are getting massively hammered, and President Trump said, do it. Green light to Israel. Their friendship never went anywhere. This was a very obvious tactic to get Hamas to become vulnerable, for the Houthis to not be taken seriously. In fact, one obvious move.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You have yourself some 4D chess over here going like, oh, I'm gonna go upstairs, now I'm gonna go downstairs. Which one is it? Oh, That's right. Hell yeah. That's what I love.
Also to get the Houthis from Yemen to continue to attack, because President Trump said that the Houthis promised me not to attack anymore, and we'll keep an eye on them. Yeah. And obviously now they're attacking, which means President Trump wants an excuse to target Iran. And this is what happened tonight. The announcement by the Secretary of State Marco Rubio that new and fresh sanctions are now being imposed onto Iran, the Islamic Republic, in the middle of negotiations. This is no longer about the carrot, it's about the stick. The Islamic Republic are being suffocated. Syria has been dragged closer to this side in order to prevent Hezbollah, which is next door in Lebanon, from receiving any support, any equipment. Have you even seen all the reports that we're giving you? The attacks on Israel, it's simply just coming from Yemen, the Houthis, the last part. Hamas, not much. I mean, they don't know what they're doing.
Okay, so what they're doing is they're smoking them out. They're smoking them out. One of the greatest issues with battling terrorists is that they use civilians and civilian buildings as their main headquarters and shields. So the problem is, you need to condense them down into specifically where are you, and then get them to react and say, hey, here's specifically where we're at, which is ultimately what they did. They did it through provocation, because these people, unfortunately, are just too emotional. They can't think straight, and so they got them to show their hand. They got them to say, hey, this is exactly where I'm at. This is exactly what we intend on doing. Being like, aha, now I've got you. And everybody else, like say Syria, who would be like, the terrorists are in Syria. Well, it's like, well, yeah, the terrorists would probably move up there after things started going bad in, like, say, Iran, Iraq, or Yemen, right? They would move up there, and once again, Syria would get bombed to all hell. And instead, they're like, wait a minute, there's nobody in Syria right now who is worthy of being bombed. Like, they're just fine, so let's go ahead and reward them by taking sanctions off. For not housing terrorists, and now that things are looking up and looking positive for Syria, they're not going to want any of these terrorists back, right? Because otherwise, what happens next? They get bombed again, and they just don't want that. The people are celebrating because it's like, we have a chance. We can get out of this now. There's a lifeline that was thrown down as we were deep in the hole that we dug ourselves into, so they're able to get out now. And we've kind of, at this point, with the 4D chess that freaking Trump was doing, means that now they can go after specifically the guys that are becoming a problem. And see, all the funding is gone too. The last of the funding is from Iran. All right. Otherwise, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and them, they were funding terrorists before. That's because they had nothing else that they could really do, considering that the United States of America was a great pause, by the way. But considering that the United States just always saw the Middle East, those people over in the Middle East, as enemies. So it's like, okay, well, if we don't have a friend with the United States, what else can we do?
Suffocated because they don't have any other route to receive any support from the Iranian regime. Statement from the Syrian government and the president. Well, self-appointed president. Damascus. The Syrian Arabic Republic welcomes President Donald Trump's recent remarks regarding the lifting of sanctions that were imposed on Syria in response to the war crimes committed by the Assad regime against the Syrian people. This development marks a pivotal turning point for the Syrian people as we seek to emerge from a long and painful chapter of war. The removal of these sanctions offer offers a vital opportunity for Syria to pursue stability,
Yep.
self-sufficiency, and meaningful national construction led by and for the Syrian people.
There you go.
With regards, we regard this announcement in an extremely positive light. It reflects a shift towards a more constructive international stance on Syria, which stands ready to foster a relationship with the United States that is grounded in mutual respect, trust, and shared interests, and are committed to a forward-looking dialogue that prioritizes the dignity and aspirations of
I really
our
hope
people.
that they can pull it off.
Now,
I really hope.
let's not forget, you cannot trust Al Jilani, you cannot trust the state of Qatar, but you have to be able to control them. Instead of allowing the Islamists to control the West, you need to get, and obviously President Trump and the Crown Prince in Saudi are doing that for now. Let's see how it goes. It's not going to be easy. Someone's going to cause chaos in Syria eventually, because you still have an element of the Tahrir al-Sham terrorists who continue to go around do things. And now, obviously, al-Jilani's regime have arrested those Tahrir al-Sham terrorists who were going around targeting the Druze and Christians. Now, let's see how serious al-Jilani is about this. Now, al-Jilani is a terrorist himself, but he now wears a suit and a tie. He trims it.
This right now is the chance. It's like their opportunity to be able to do it. That's what's happening right now. And I think, oh man, I really hope at least that they're not just freaking faking it. That would be terrible. But they've got a chance. Syria can finally move on.
His beard, because he knows he cannot lose power. He's gained power. He's realized, actually, this is much nicer than being a terrorist. So he will do anything.
Yeah.
If that means he has to keep Syria stable,
The incentives are there.
if that means he has to make the economy better for Syrians to stay in the country and be happy, because that means he's going to stay in power.
Mm-hmm. And this is also one of the big issues that people are looking at Trump for and kind of complaining about is they're pissed that Trump is working with the enemies of the United States of America, aka the terrorists, right? Well, here's the thing. You have to be able to look forward. You need to stop looking backwards, okay, and saying, "Oh, they did 9/11." Like, what? Yes, okay, they did 9/11. Oh, we get it. We went out. We had our revenge. Okay, we bombed the piss out of all of the Middle East, and so at this point, I would say, the revenge arc is over. It's time now to negotiate peace, and time to start building together. That's what's super important. And you have some of the richest countries out there in Saudi Arabia because of oil, right? So, like, you need to be able to stop looking back and saying, you flicked me on the nose that one time, I'm going to punch you in the face. You need to stop doing that. Be like, you flicked me in the nose that one time, that was annoying. But hey, let's do a business deal, okay, and make millions of dollars, right? Like, come on. That's kind of what I'm seeing is happening right now. And the people who are sitting there saying, well, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, they bombed the towers. Yeah, okay, I get it. Are we always just going to go bomb the Middle East? Is that the only thing we're ever going to do because they bombed our towers that one time? Like, okay, that was a terrible thing. Yes, we had a revenge arc. It's all over with now. Time to move forward. Time to shake hands and say, all right, let's move forward with peace and prosperity.
That's a classic version of a so-called...
Yeah, but Syria's president was a terrorist. Okay, incentives are there. He's realizing that being a terrorist is a bad idea. He had nothing really else to do back at that time. And so now he's like, I can actually work with the United States of America and become like extremely wealthy leader of... Or I can become extremely wealthy, and I can also be the leader of a very wealthy country as long as I work with the United States of America. That's it? Wow. Why would I want to go be a terrorist again? Fuck the Jews? Oh, well, I mean, yeah, fuck them, but I don't have to deal with them if I'm very rich in my own rich country, thanks to the United States of America. The incentives are there. I can ignore the Jews, because my hatred for the Jews, because I have something else entirely I want to do. You see how that works? It's like... You use economics. Use rewards to reward good behavior, like, say, wealth. Okay, happy people. I mean, anything that these people could possibly want can come through just simply working with them. You don't have to go through you were a terrorist, so therefore we're not working with you. Why not? You were is the key word. That's the key word. You were Not anymore, though, right?
Leader in the Middle East. Make them rich.
Yes.
Next video, of course, they've said that if Syria behaves, and again, it depends on the condition and their performance, they can also potentially join the Abraham Accords, but only after eliminating the extremist elements in Syria. Let's go to the next video, and then we're going to talk about, of course, Israel, because the Israelis have been reassured that this is not going to be betraying that relationship.
الشعب السوري في سحق الأمويين يحتفل في
Very useful video.
It's going to be a long night in Syria, but in a good way, because they are still celebrating. Now, it will be helpful, obviously, if all those, a lot of the Syrians who left because of Assad, a lot of them are in Germany and France and the UK. A lot of them could go back. If they see an opportunity that there is an economic opportunity and prosperity in the country, especially now, because Syria was suffocating economically, then obviously they can go back and rebuild the country. It's much better than causing more conflict and starting more wars. Now, you can't be complacent. You can't just say, here you go, have your country, let's have peace, and walk away. Because what will happen? Pakistan will happen. A terrorist state will happen. A frenemy. You have to keep an eye on the Syrian regime while you're allowing them to become prosperous if they want to.
Yeah.
Now, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman actually broke protocol for the first time ever to greet President Trump personally earlier today as part of the visit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this was important because President Trump visited there before, and he's met with the Saudis the first term when he was president, and that was also very. It was a big visit. This time, it was on a whole new level. He took with himself, obviously, Sam Altman from OpenAI, ChatGPT, also Elon Musk from X and Tesla, and many others with himself. He took Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. This was to not just do schmoozing from both sides. This was to confirm a few new arrangements. The Abraham Accords, the rumors that they said, that they don't have to get Israel to get involved, that was a lie, because they confirmed they want to normalize things between the Arab world and Israel.
Okay. No, that's a really good idea. So try and get Israel involved with the Islamic State. Wow, actual peace, man. Can you imagine that? That would be wild. That would be crazy.
They want to make sure that Saudi is happy about getting Qatar to be moved away from the Islamic Republic so far. And of course, Saudi is now going to be investing so much money. They're going to buy so much weapons from the United States. Mm-hmm. It's going to massively help the economy in the US as well. Let's go to this. This is the video where the Crown Prince broke protocol by, this is not normal for them, by greeting the president personally.
Trips. That'd be terrible. Wait, so what did he break again? He broke policy. He came out to meet Trump, right?
So yeah, usually the custom tradition is that Crown Prince waits, the leader arrives, lands, and then they come and shake hands. But actually, he went to the airport himself, so that was quite.
Yeah,
he's a bit too keen to sort things out with President Trump.
That's really
now, Trump himself also mentioned that our task is to unify against the few agents of chaos and terror that are left. The biggest and most destructive of these forces is the regime of Iran. Now, let's not forget, big credit should go back to Israel, because the Israelis were the ones who started to eliminate all the threats. Again, Hezbollah, Hamas, most of the Houthis, although the Americans could also take some credit for the Houthis. Everyone is basically been eliminated. Let's not forget the IRGC bases in Syria under Assad. All that's gone. So the Iranian regime have lost Lebanon. They've lost Gaza. They've lost Syria. They're basically losing Yemen. Everything that they had is gone. Qatar is left. And that's the next move.
Okay.
Our task is to unify against the few agents of chaos and terror that are left
This was a really good speech.
and that are holding hostage the dreams of millions and millions of great people. The biggest and most destructive of these forces is the regime in Iran, which has caused unthinkable suffering in Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, Iraq, Yemen, and beyond.
1.25? What the fuck?
There could be no sharper contrast with the path
I agree. Their focus should be on the IRGC. And this was the moment where the president announced that the sanctions are finally being lifted from Syria to actually help the economy. And people in Syria seem to be happy with this anyway. And of course, the Crown Prince was extremely happy in Saudi.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Good. Yeah, man, he's just so happy. He had that face on basically the entire time. He's so over the moon that Trump is at his country freaking doing all this. He's clapping for himself. Look at that. He stands up, everyone stands.
Now, Saudi...
Okay, so what was impressive about that is that Trump backed up and started clapping for the crown prince. Huh. Got a little dyslexia over here. But that's why it was so important, because he backs up and it's like mutual respect, right? Mutual respect for you, sir. He gets up, stands up, returns that respect. And in doing so, everybody gets up and does the same thing. Standing ovation. It's a great symbol to where the relationship is going. Okay? It's the I have respect for you, you have respect for me. We can work together. And that's why I have high hopes for what's going on here, and why when he's like, please just take the sanctions off of Syria, give them a chance. It's like I have high hopes now. I have a belief that Syria legitimately actually wants to try and turn their country around. It's almost like the leader, the self-proclaimed president, was a terrorist himself, and it's almost like he knows what life that brings, and he saw the first ever chance to not have to have other generations become those terrorists that he was. That's the way that I'm kind of viewing this, and hopefully, they actually do something. They don't go right back to freaking terrorizing people and killing Jews and shit. But we'll see what happens.
It could also help Syria. Obviously, the success that Saudi Arabia and UAE have had when it comes to fighting against Islamism and extremism has been great. Their countries are now safe, and they can also help Syria with this because, of course, as I said, al-Jilani was a terrorist. Firstly, always a terrorist. His supporters are still there. Some of them have been causing chaos over the last few weeks. Yes, they've been arrested. But if they want the support of the Arab world, Saudi, and of course the Americans, they need to behave. They need to find a way to get rid of and eliminate the Islamic threat. Now, it's really weird because it's the job of al-Jilani to do this. And al-Jilani was literally the leader of the terrorist organization. It's really weird to even think how that can be happening. But he says he can do it. Now, I don't trust him, but he has no choice.
Okay, so don't say it like he's got no choice. No, it's not so weird. Okay, I want you to imagine that you've got a nation state that is nothing but warriors. The only thing you've ever known is war. Okay, and then one of your best warriors, the leader, your king or whatever, right? All of a sudden decides, hey, we don't want to just be warriors anymore. Like nothing but war. Like, oh, we don't want that anymore. Let's start focusing from being just nothing but war over to, like, say, economics. Okay, we want to become richer. I want my people to become happier, not have to live in this life of bloodshed constantly, and never knowing if you're gonna live or die the next day, right? So what am I gonna do? Well, since I was one of those warriors at one time, people aren't really gonna trust me, considering that all we were doing was running around, pillaging and raiding and going to war with people. So instead, I'm going to take whatever country is going to allow me to give me a chance, and then I'm going to go out of my way to try to give them the best deals as sort of a thank you for giving me a chance, and then try and build up the economy of my country, my people, right? Help them become richer. That's what they're doing right now. And is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. There's definitely going to be things that's going to happen in the future where it's like, ooh, are you going back to the terrorism, sir? Right? But I do think that overall, this is a new beginning for Syria, and I trust that the former leader of the terrorists actually wants to change, doesn't want his people to continue being terrorists like he's used to. That's what I'm thinking.
Being forced by Saudi and the Americans. So if he failed, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But I just don't understand how a terrorist could actually ISIS, a leader could tell his own former supporters to stop being a terrorist. It's weird. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he says he can. But the point is to prevent the Iranian regime from returning to Syria. That's the main point. This isn't really just about the general threat of Islamism. This is about fighting against Iran. And by making this announcement and this policy coming from Saudi and the Americans, both hate Iran, the Islamic Republic, the negotiations, these so-called nuclear negotiations, they are not going to end well now, especially after tonight, especially after what just happened in Syria. The Iranian regime wanted to return to Syria. They've been waiting for al-Jilani to fall apart. It's not happening. Actually, over the last few weeks, when the Tahrir al-Sham Islamists were going around targeting the Druze and Christians, a lot of people thought, well, actually, that just means that the al-Jilani regime is not stable, it's going to fall apart. It didn't. He handled it well when it comes to PR. Again, you cannot see this guy as an angel. He's not the savior. Yeah. He's not a good guy. But he's faking it till he makes it, right? He handled the PR side of it well. He arrested the Tahrir al-Sham terrorists who were his friends before. And he's now safeguarding the Druze and Christians over the last week or so.
So I almost wonder if he knows that he's got enough respect in that terrorist world that all he needs to do is like, hey, you guys are no longer terrorists. You're not going to go murdering Jews and stuff like that anymore. Now we are the military. We're the military for Syria, for a country that is friends with the United States of America, who is a Christian country. This Christian country is going to help us become happier, become better. Maybe we can work with them. We don't have to love them, but maybe we can work with them.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Yeah, let's see.
When President Trump was asked, as he was leaving, whether he's going to be meeting al-Jilani, he said, yes, I think so. So I believe tomorrow he will be meeting with al-Jilani. This is going to be a very interesting meeting. Because the Europeans have been meeting with al-Jilani, and they've been like, I don't know, kissing his ass. We had the European Union, the German ministers, the French going to Syria, and basically they were the ones pandering to al-Jilani. They were like, really?
Why?
And they did it early on, before al-Jilani even proved that he was going to be a normal leader. He was still that terrorist, and like they're just going in, and the European Union is giving free money to the Syrian regime.
Yeah, the European Union sucks, dude. I swear to God, the European Union, the only thing that they've actually been doing is just funneling money from the United States to wherever the fuck they wanted it to go. Like, this is so stupid. The European Union has been just terrible, and I don't know why they feel so... what's the word for it? Oh, no. They feel entitled to it. And it's weird, because the second that Trump's like, well, the European Union, it's been a bad deal. We're no longer going to send them money. They don't deserve it. They treated us very poorly. They start freaking the hell out. Like, oh my God, how dare you? We are funding only the greatest and most best things ever, like children with cancer, we're stopping their cancer, and those with transphobic ideals shall go away and always die. Anyways, here you go, terrorists, transphobic terrorists. Why don't you go? Like, I'm naming shit off the top of my head of random stuff, but like, it's really strange, you know. And I don't quite know what it is that they're doing, but they're clearly. They're just stupid. I think the bureaucracy that has kind of taken over the West. I would say that the European Union is probably one of the main hubs. I mean, you got the WEF, right? And the WEF is like the probably the highest, just the ultimate heads of the world. But yeah, they've really been taking over the world, and the European Union, I think, is one of the main hubs of these people, and we need to get them out of here, because they're nasty people. They're very nasty people. They sit there and they say, we are only helping the poor, we are only helping the feed the hungry, we're only doing this, and yet they're like, hey terrorists, why don't you go kill a couple of Jews for me? Thank you. Oh, we'll just say that, you know, the money that we sent over to you was for poor people. There you go. That was for homeless people. Yeah, you guys are homeless, right? You're homeless terrorists? Oh man, too bad. Here's some money for your homelessness. Go buy some guns.
Stop giving them free money without getting anything in return. So President Trump's approach is much better so far, saying, well, we're going to lift the sanctions, we're going to keep an eye on them. You know, let's get them to become better economically, get the Syrians to return to Syria from the West, and see how it goes. This is the moment where a journalist asked Trump if he's going to be meeting with Öcalan. He said, yes, I think so. Now, things will be changing, especially after this summit there in Saudi. I don't know if you saw when the president
He's got that same smile on, dude. It's that same smile. This is the happiest man alive right now. This is that smile that you get on when you're just having the best day of your life. You can't take the smile off, you know? It's just, you're just so happy over it. Like, that's what this is. It doesn't change. That's how you know it's real. It doesn't change. Like, he's got a big old smile on. The other thing too is he's smiling with his eyes. Now you can fake smiling with your eyes, but it is decently difficult to do, especially on a consistent basis. But he's had the same smile, and it's as big as possible, all with the eyes and everything. Like, he is extremely happy. He is way happy that this is all coming together. I think he sees, like, this is something he's probably wanted for a long time. He's probably talked to Trump, frankly, over the years, and it's finally happening. And for him, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's actually happening.
His speech,
he's happy.
The Crown Prince and his team in Riyadh decided to pay tribute to President Trump's election victory in November by playing the YMCA song.
See, there's that fucking smile again. Playing YMCA. That's great.
It's so good. Now, this is one of the other things that they're doing, and it's quite clear what they're doing, is that President Trump has been becoming slightly more softer and more accommodating towards Qatar, right? You know, he received that gift, which I still don't like, but you know, I get it. But
yeah, you know, I'm sussed as all hell about that, because when you have a $400 million plane gift from a country that very much so funds people who are like, go kill America, you know, death to America and stuff. What's on there? You know, like, I don't know about that, but like, there's got to be a gesture. There needs to be something new, because what we've done before hasn't worked. So you need to do something new now, and the something new is as simple as, like, we are so happy you're allowing us to have a chance. Here's a $400 million plane, and frankly, that could have ended everything right there. As soon as they're like, here's a gift. And maybe it was a litmus test, right? here's a gift, and any other president would have been like, no, because we don't trust you. That right there would have ended everything. Nobody would have, like, Trump would have gone out there and I would have been like, you know, instead of that big smile, would have been a no. Because you know that Trump doesn't actually trust you. He's trying to get something out of you. No, Trump legitimately wants to try to advance everybody, wants to try to work together. And so that gift in accepting and being like, yes, we would love it. Thank you very much. That was an acceptance. You know, it's like in a video game when you're like, oh, you have a new mission. Are you going to accept this mission? And you say no. Well, that mission, you can no longer go on it, right? It's something like that, right? It's just you get this one chance. Like some person, you know, randomly walks by in Skyrim or whatever, says, "Help me! I got something is happening." And it's like, do you accept a mission or not? Yes or no. If you say no, then the person dies and you never get to do that mission ever again. If you say yes, then you go on that mission and you get like a special thing or whatever, you know, a super special sword. That's basically what happened there. That's what that gift is. So, I think it was. I don't trust the gift, but I definitely think that it's something. It is something good. I believe it's something good. I want to believe that it's something good. I don't necessarily trust it, but we will see in the future. We'll see where the cards land.
He hasn't fully said 100% yes to Qatar. Obviously, Saudi Arabia, Qatar hate each other. Qatar is literally a sponsor of terrorism, or at least Islamist propaganda. But Qatar, who also want to make a lot of money, they want to be like Saudi, smaller version. They're going to look at this. They were like, we want that relationship.
Yeah.
So President Trump is going to be reminding them, if you want this, say goodbye to the Iranian regime. You could either have that relationship or this one. Do you want to be a puppet of Iran forever? The Iranian regime is not going to last. You will be abandoned if you be on your own, the last group supporting the Islamic Republic. I think the Qataris are getting it. Again, does not mean Qatar is suddenly the good guys. No. This is just geopolitics. They understand, well, they can't really be on that side fully. The ship is sinking. They're going to have to jump. Doesn't mean they're angels. It's just business. Geopolitics, it's just business.
Yeah.
Finally, we are seeing, we just received this one actually, the latest clip. Celebrations continue across Syria. Streets are getting filled with women and children, and I think we can actually show you that next clip that we've just received, and then we're going to come back.
Where's the pop off? Good. Right over yourself.
Yeah. Interesting scenes in Damascus and other parts of Syria. Let's get some reaction from you guys while we're here. First super chat saying, I'm just about to go to bed. You're working later tonight, Maya. Thank you for your news updates. Thank you very much, Time Lord. And another one says, when the IRGC
Is this like the end of his video? Is that what's going on here? Oh, it looks like, yeah, he goes on for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, you know, I really am hopeful. Frankly, I do believe good things can come out of this. I'm especially excited to see what Syria does. I'm also a little bit worried that Syria might be a proxy for the viewers or the viewership. Oh, that's the wrong word. Might be a proxy of attention, so that way perhaps Qatar can continue doing things that they're doing, or maybe they want to secretly do. That would suck. However, I am very excited to see what happens because, frankly, President Trump walked away with, what was it, almost $3 trillion in investments from just 3 countries out there. And the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia And frankly, that's insane. So let's see what happens. And then he basically did a gift. Frankly, the crown prince just asked him, "Hey, can you take sanctions off of Syria? They want to try. They want to try and just take it off them and see what they can do." And so we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching them out here. And I truly do hope that good things come their way. The only thing that I want to see is another freaking Dubai out there in like Syria or whatever, right? That would be fantastic. Just imagine how much prosperity and happiness that brings to just people in general. The people of the world, I can't tell you how sick and tired I am growing up having listened to the news always being like, oh, the terrorists out there in the Middle East, terrorists out there in the Middle East, terrorists out there in the Middle East, and then we go and we bomb the crap out of them. Like, it's nothing but just death and destruction out there constantly. It's, in fact, in my own head, when I think of the Middle East, the only thing I think of is Israel, and then death and destruction. You know, that's really it. You know, the Afghan war. That's the only thing I can ever figure, that I can ever think of in my head, and it's because I've grown up having that constantly drilled into my head. And the only thing that I want to see is something like a Dubai. Dubai is a beautiful city, absolutely fantastic, and I truly do want to start seeing that with every country out there. Just a very, very, very powerful countries, very, very strong economies out there. I would love to see that. And I think it'd be fantastic too, because then, you know, I can maybe take a vacation out there or something, and it'd be a really cool place to go to. Very different culture. However, I'm not going to go out there if it's under threat of terrorists all the time. You know, I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, I don't know. Tell me what your opinion is about this. I truly think that it's a good thing happening. What Donald Trump did was fantastic. But yeah, go ahead, subscribe, everybody, and hope you have a good night.